not saying anything. Well, if you wanted to say anything, I'd be listening. But I don't want to say anything. And I don't want to be listening, but here we are. Being weird. Not in the usual way. Because that's my life now. What do you mean? Everyone is acting weird. My mom is going on dates, and my dad is acting like a child. Just wish that everything could go back to the way it was. I don't think it will. I know that everyone is upset that I'm not doing well in school. It's just hard to care. That sounds hard. Yeah, it is. Can I offer you a hot beverage? That would be nice. Be right back. What you doing? Paisley's feeling sad, so I'm making her a hot beverage. Oh, you're a good kid. I'm proud of you. Thank you. What's that? Body glitter? That's so much better than regular glitter. Then buy it. I don't have any money. Then steal it. No, my mom would kill me. Fine. Your mom can't punish me. What did you put in your pocket? Nothing. There is a lot about the job that isn't actually that fun that I have now automated away almost entirely. One of them is Sentry. This is kind of a different type of automation.
Y'all, Ja Morant has been traded to the Trailblazers, y'all. Can he do his thing over there with Damian Lillard? Is Ja Morant the missing piece, y'all? Let me know. Is he the missing? Y'all, Ja Morant has been traded to the Trailblazers, y'all. Can he do his thing over there with Damian Lillard? Is Ja Morant the missing piece, y'all? Let me know. Is he the missing? Y'all, Ja Morant has been traded to the Trailblazers, y'all. Can he do his thing over there with Damian Lillard? Is Ja Morant the missing piece, y'all? Let me know. Is he?
So after my April Fool's video, I got about 500 comments like this asking if I really quit my job. And it kind of dawned on me that I never actually told you guys the story. So let me explain. After working in the pharmaceutical industry for the last few years, which we all know is definitely not the most corrupt industry in the world, I realized it was getting pretty hard trying to manage a full-time job, be a dad, and still make these ridiculous cooking videos for you guys. So last November, I quit and decided to do this whole content thing full-time. And here we are making hot and fast ribs past midnight for my HOA. Now you guys know the real story. So after my April Fool's video, I got about 500 comments like this asking if I really quit my job. And it kind of dawned on me that I never actually told you guys the story. So let me explain. After working in the pharmaceutical industry,
Basketball, just like life, is not fair. And that's a very harsh realization to come to, but at some point in your basketball career, you will realize this. And because of that, you need to be manipulating your situation constantly to be getting ahead of everyone else. Like I'm doing it right now to you. I'm wearing this Golden State Warriors t-shirt that I got at a Warriors minicamp 2 summers ago. Not because I ever played for the Warriors, but because it gives me some sort of credibility when I talk to you about these things that have happened over the course of my basketball career. So let's get into it. Here are 13 very uncomfortable things that I know are holding a lot of you young players watching this back in your basketball career. So the first one is being too nice. And to be abundantly clear, be a good person. That is not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about being too nice in the sense that you're so worried about making everybody else happy that you forget to worry about yourself. And a lot of this stems from the advice that we get growing up to be unselfish, to be a team player, which on paper sounds great, but for a lot of us, like me, when I was younger, that internalized that to mean, okay, I need to be super passive and never look for my own opportunities to have success. And this still shows up in my life constantly. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to play pickup in Philadelphia, and Mac McClung was there, two-time dunk contest winner. By the way, amazing guy, super nice, and I always love meeting high-level basketball players in person because so often they're just great people and very interested and want to have conversations with someone like me who plays professionally overseas, which I find to be very cool. But there were moments throughout playing pickup yesterday where I felt myself being too nice, being too unselfish, not looking for my own opportunities or looking to score. I wanted to set everybody else up and get everybody involved, which again, that sounds fine, but when you're a younger player and you're trying to stand out from everybody else, you're trying to work on the skills that you've been training, you're trying to impress college coaches, You need to be selfish. And a lot of times this does come back to the simple fact that scoring is what gets you noticed first in basketball. I was actually watching a video, I think on Instagram yesterday, where a creator said this in probably the best way that I've ever heard. He said you shouldn't always be looking to score, but
Today we're doing a hide and seek, except instead of some 30-year-old YouTubers trying to find us, it's these guys. These are Royal Marines, trained in tactical tracking and terrain mastery. These two are essentially trained to be some of the best seekers in the world. And with only 45 minutes for us to hide before the Marines are released, we better get going. Let's go! Yay! Oh my god, I fell over immediately. Right, what the hell do we do? This is a big bit of ground to cover. Has anyone got any aspect and full of luxury? We're using the tonkotsu broth as our base, but that usually takes 14 to 18 hours of boiling, doesn't it? Well, guess what, pal? Thanks to my restaurant experiences, I can tell you a little secret. Most restaurants don't have the time, and they're not going to make the time. Instead, they use a pressure cooker, believe it or not. They pressure cook the broth for a little bit, then pressure cook some fat in there, blend it, boil it again, and that's how they do it. Welcome to the future. Well, the future for you. The restaurant industry's been done there. Alright, so here's how you do it. You'll need 2 pounds or 900 grams of pork neck bones and 2.5 pounds or a little over a kilo of sliced pork hocks. I'm really enunciating that because if you say it too fast, it sounds really offending. Make sure that the pork hocks have the skin on, which really helps emulsify the stock. Now, purists out there will say, oh, we get to place these in a bowl and cover with cold water and leave it in the fridge overnight. But look, it's completely optional. Either way, place those in a pot, cover with fresh cold water, and bring to a boil. Boil for 2 minutes, skimming any scum that rises to the top, and then immediately drain. Rinse with cold water, getting any impurities off. Then place your now clean, sparkly bones in a pressure cooker. Add just enough water to cover, plus another cup or so. Pop the lid on, set the pressure to high for 1.5 hours, and while that's going, let's make our chashu. Get a 4-pound or 2-kilo pork belly, roll it up tight like a porchetta, tie your rolled pork into 3 intervals to make it a beautifully spiraled roast. Heat up a 7-quart Dutch oven over medium-high, add just enough veg oil to coat the bottom, and once it's so hot, sear your pork on 2 sides gently to get some golden brown going on. Then leaving it fat side up, add in 1 cup or 250 milliliters of sake. The one I used here costs about $150 a bottle, which breaks my heart, but we're doing it for science. Followed by 1 cup or 250 milliliters of water, 3/4 of a cup or 175 milliliters of shoyu, this one being about $50 a bottle, 1 cup or 250 milliliters of mirin, a 1/4 cup or 50 grams of granulated sugar, a 2 inch or 5 centimeter piece of peeled ginger sliced, 1 bunch of green oignon cut into thirds, and 1 shallot quartered with the skin left on. Bring that up to a boil over medium high, drop the temp to low, and simmer covered with a lid for 3 hours, turning occasionally until the deed is done and you get a tender little belly wrap there, brother. Now you can either use that right away, or if you're making it ahead, refrigerate and slice while cold to get beautifully clean slices. Now, unless you're unreasonably slow, you should still have some time left with your pressure cooker to make your most important elements: the tari, the aromatic oil, which neither should be skipped here, and of course the toppings. We already showed you how to make your soft-boiled eggs, and the nori simply just needs to be cut super thin and chiffonade like. So, for the tari, in a medium sauce pot, add a 1/4 cup or 60 milliliters of sake, yes, that's the expensive one, set over medium high, and as soon as it boils, optionally, using a kitchen torch, carefully ignite the steam and let it flambe till the flame dies out. Then add a 1/4 cup or 60 milliliters of shiradashi, 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters of mirin, 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters of good aged soy sauce, this one being about 60 buckaroonies, and 1 cup or 7 grams of bonito flakes. You can also use niboshi if you're a purist, okay? I get it. Bring that up to heat, and as soon as it starts to get steamy hot, turn the heat off and steep for 5 minutes. Then just strain that through a mesh sieve, and that's your tari. Now there is a lobster element to this as well, so you'll need 2 whole lobster. I did the deed with them. I did it respectfully and humanely, as you should. It's a very important note, and I really hope that people stop ignoring it. Please dispatch your lobsters humanely. Research it, learn it. This isn't a joke. That being said, do not throw away their heads and save them for later. I cooked their tails and claws for 4 minutes in gently boiling water. Now, I really only want the tails for this, but you can, of course, use the claws as well. Once it's cooked, pop it into an ice bath, then split the tails in half lengthwise, remove the vein, extract the meat, clean any yuckies in there if needed. And next, let's talk aromatic oil. Absolutely essential to this bowl. You'll need 1 cup of lard, heat until completely melted, then add a mix of 1/2 bunch of green onions cut into 2-inch segments, and 8 cloves of lightly crushed garlic left whole. Lower the heat to medium-low and let that cook, swirling occasionally for 5 to 7 minutes or until the vegetables are golden brown and toasted. Strain through a fine mesh sieve and stir in 1/2 teaspoon of toasted sesame oil. And if you really want to push the limit here, Totally smart, brother. And no, I don't mean with your USB port pen, okay? I'm talking about Hickory Smoke, brother. They have a little miniature smoker set up. Place some compressed wood in a little sort of bowl made of foil. Put that in the bottom of your smoking bowl or a perforated pan setup. Blast your wood with a blowtorch till completely on fire. Then gently blow on it to put out the fire and get that smoke rolling. Place a perforated pan or wire rack over that. Place a container of oil on top of that. Cover with foil or lid and let that bad boy smoke for about 5 to 8 minutes or until smoky to your liking. Now back to our broth. After that 1.5 hours, release the pressure, being careful of any spritzing. It's kind of like a scalding hot sprinkler from hell. Now add half a pound or 225 grams of pork fat, close the lid, bring it back up to high pressure, and cook for another 1.5 hours. Now one more time, release that pressure. There's that Hellfire sprinkler system. Once the pressure is released, open it up, carefully scoop out the fat back using a spider, and place it in a blender. Cover with about a quart of broth. Blend on high until you get a completely smooth and creamy emulsified base. Strain your pork stock out of the pressure cooker and into a pot. Then add your blended Snow White. Sorry.
Since I've had the injections here, it's improved.
It's improved.
Yeah,
Well, how do I look? Do I look glowing?
absolutely gorgeous.
Everywhere I go, heads turning, looking at me like, whoa, 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 whoa. Everywhere I go, heads turning, looking at me like, whoa. Kinda feel like I could go 1, 2, 3, kind of on your toes.
Growing up, my life was all over the place. Turns out, I craved order. And when I joined the Navy, that's what I got. My life is still all over the place, but now in a really good way. I was born in Southend, but I was made in the Royal Navy.
Sorry. Pop that bad boy on the stove over medium high. Optionally, and to be frank, this is a cardinal sin in my opinion, but we have to test it. So we're gonna add some of our lobster tail shells and the head of 2 lobsters from earlier. Be sure to clean the head before adding, by the way. Followed by a mix of 1 bunch of Brie Poignon cut into 2-inch segments and 5 cloves of garlic lightly crushed and a 1-inch knob of ginger sliced. Bring that up to a boil over medium high and boil for 25 to 30 minutes or till reduced and slightly thickened. Now, if the appropriate amount of gelatin was extracted, then you should have a beautiful. We're pretty much ready, but we need to add a little extra bit of spice to this bowl. I got us some slightly more expensive mushrooms that are not truffles, okay? Not trying to make a cop out here. We've got 1 pound of lion's mane mushrooms and half a pound of hanshamaji mushrooms. Cut those guys up into bite-sized pieces, toss together, then sear them in a pan similarly to the previous method, except this time, once they're cooked, add in 2 tablespoons of 28 grams of unsalted butter and let that cook until the butter browns, tossing occasionally, and then they are done. Be sure to season these nicely with salt, by the way. Nobody likes an unseasoned mushroom. Well, 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 it's assembly time. Torch your sliced chashu, as many slices as you want per bowl, till hot and lightly browned on both sides. Then per bowl, add about 2 to 3.5 tablespoons of tare, hit it with additional salt to taste. Ladle in about 2.5 cups of your tonkotsu broth. Add in 6 ounces of cooked straight ramen noodles, which have been cooked and drained according to package directions. A light drizzle of your aromatic oil, 1 to 2 teaspoons will do. Look, it's an aroma, okay? A gentle kick in the pants. Followed by your egg, mushroom, green onion, your chashu, half of a lobster tail, nori that's been chiffonade, a generous dollop of caviar, whichever one you like, assuming you have a favorite. We'll need at least 30 to 50 grams of this stuff, and that is your bowl. This recipe does make enough for 4, but we're only making 1 here, so bummer. Now, let's taste test and see if spending more than 200 times the price was worth it. So it comes down to this. This ended up being, is it fair to pit an instant ramen against this? I'll judge graciously in that way. Broth, a little bit spicy. I'm not opposed to instant ramen, it's good, but don't act higher than thou and say that instant ramen isn't good. If you get the right kind, Shin Black, delicious. Everything else combined, this is exactly like I thought it would. Now, $800 for this. I know there's some sacrilege involved with this. Broth check. God damn, it's not even fair. This could be one of the best ramen we've made. Oh, the broth. It's not fair to compare the broth because the broth is the most expensive part. By the way, the lobster didn't add anything to it. Don't taste it. Sorry. Let's talk about the expensive stuff. First off, caviar. It's nice. A little salty, briny bits. I like it. Okay, I have my answer. Believe it or not, making a ramen more expensive does not make it better at all. This ramen is better than the instant one, undoubtedly. Each element, the lobster, etc. You can add all that stuff. You honestly don't have to. This ramen is perfectly good on its own. This is why you don't mess with a perfectly good food. But I ramen right here was a waste of money.
Thanks. You wanna know what else makes me pop my wallet open? B-roll.
Alright guys, that is it. So we have our expensive ramen, very expensive, and of course our instant ramen that's been dolled up just a hair. I'm reassessing my statement a little bit. I'm not saying the caviar in there, etc., doesn't make it better. Tastes a little bit more luxurious, a little bit more fancy. But for that price point, I have to be a little more scrutinizing and say, look, is the boost worth it? No. This is a dish where the foundation is completely predicated off of proper technique and knowing what the flavor should be and just putting in the time, the effort, and assembling it properly. That is what makes it good. It's also a smattering of so many different high flavor ingredients. Rhythm. Got all that umami. You know, whenever you say umami, I'll tell you what. But with all that being said, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.
Here they are. Mr. Hastings.
There is an ability in competitive Pokemon that, if it ever became popular, could single-handedly ruin the game. Can't trust what you see, where everything might be an illusion. A world where sight, the first line of defense against